This is the President McCormack Podcast with your host, Mark McCormack.
The one and only Tony Ferris. Welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thanks for having me out here.
No, awesome. Thanks for coming on, man. It's we're just talking about why I'm doing the podcast, and it's for people like you to come on here and chat with me and get like I guess video evidence that we were friends at one point.
Nice. It's awesome. Great stuff.
So what's your, have you been on a podcast before?
I've never done a podcast. Listened to a bunch of them. Never listened to any of yours though.
Oh, you'll
should have.
Don't worry about it. You'll get to them. So we're kind of talking about the theme of my podcast a little bit. And one of the things that kind of brought us together is being this We Are the They group. Let me ask you, because I actually don't know, why did you join We Are the They?
I was at a point in my life where I was kind of transitioning from one business to the other. And I think that it had a lot more to do with business. It was more the transformation between business and money to spirituality and living a deeper and more meaningful life. And Jimmy's thing came available literally right at that time. And I'm like, something pulled me towards it. It was the universe that pulled me towards it.
Yeah.
And I just went all in and it was cool. You know, there was that whole application process, so to speak. And I'm like, what's going to happen here? And how serious is this? And then I saw the questions. I'm like, all right, it's just a form, right? Like, it's fine. Let's just go ahead and do this thing. So yeah, it was good. It's changed my life. It's changed everybody's life, as you know.
Yeah.
And no regrets whatsoever.
So did he end up giving you a call?
Jimmy did. Yeah, he called me. It lasted for about 2 seconds. Like, hey, I reviewed your thing and it looks like it's good. So if you want in this thing, we're good to go. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. It sounds like it's amazing. So
good.
Yeah, I had seen some of the social media stuff that he had done with the group one type of stuff, knew some people in there, or at least people that I thought were going to be in that group that were just kind of headliners, just put in that group just for namesake. And then we're never actually in the group. Right. But yeah, it was just like that.
Yeah.
It went down.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't go through the application process because I knew Jimmy before. Yeah. Jimmy and I are friends. But in fact, I didn't even know we had an application process till we went down to Moab.
Right.
And people were talking about it. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. I didn't realize people were getting interviewed for this and stuff. But I get it, though. It's kind of cool. And I mean, I look at the two groups and it's interesting to me. I don't know, 25% of the guys in the first group, some of it's from like going to Iceland and getting to know some of them, And I think you got it right with group two. Mm-hmm. I mean, group one's great. They're all a bunch of great guys, but I feel like our group just is like cohesively a little tighter.
Yeah.
A little bit funner. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it's kind of that same thing. You always mess up on your first kid and do better on the second, right?
I know group three, man, if he ever does one, that might be interesting.
For sure.
That might be interesting.
Yeah. No, the group one guys are cool, obviously.
Yeah.
Everybody's great in that group. I mean, I've met a bunch of people from it and they're good guys, but yeah.
I kind of wonder what it's going to be like in 10 years, maybe even 5 years, right? Because this is a 2.5 year program. And
for sure.
It'll be weird to see who kind of, I don't know. It's almost like guys, right? It's almost like we need to do business together to just give us something to have an excuse to hang out frequently. Right.
For sure.
And there's a bunch of guys in the group. I mean, I'm kind of cooking up something. There's a couple other guys kind of cooking up something where we can kind of keep those who want to participate together for a long time,
Right.
And so we're kind of looking at flipping houses. Do you know much about Ben's stuff? Ben Care?
No.
Mm-mm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he does a lot of high-end flips.
Okay.
It's kind of fun. Bracken and I went up to his house up in Park City that it's flipping. It's got 16 feet of snow around it.
Okay.
Wild stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But he gutted this thing. It's going to be in the $3 to $4 million price range, I think, when it's all said and done. And I don't know. It's kind of fun, kind of construction wise, and I don't know, that kind of.
He does multifamily stuff as well, right?
I think so. I think he's done a bunch. So I went and saw him speak at Slick, and he talked about all the different things that he did. One year he did 40 flips, which he swears on his life he'll never do again because it was just an insane amount of transactions.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
But yeah.
Good stuff.
Did you play the real estate game at all?
No, I did not. I was talking to Russ the other day and he was just kind of explaining every single thing to me and low margins. And I'm just like, wow, I'm glad that I never went down that type of route. I mean, it's great. It's a long-term game and there's a lot of people that play the long-term game well.
Yeah. I'm
not that type of guy. I like short-term. I like the excitement and, I don't know. There's just, I need some wins right? At least once a month, it seems like, as opposed to once in 20 years or something like that, when you're extreme long-term, but that's good stuff. I respect the hell out of all those guys, especially in finance and, long-term equity type of stuff it's a whole different beast for sure.
Well, I've been explaining that to people too, because I've got my PE fund that we go and do stuff with, right? And people always ask, well, are you doing real estate? And I'm just like, no, actually, hell no. People are always, I don't get why you don't do real estate. And it's like, well, it's because anybody can do real estate. It's really easy, and like what you're saying, your returns are 15 years out. Yeah. Like, yeah, you get a cap rate along the way and you get like a little bit of cash flow off of them, but really, depending on how you put your effort into certain projects, right? You could 10x your money in 4 years. For sure. Instead of a 70% return at best over 10. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I fortunately have luck in all the industries that I've done that haven't kind of been that slow and that type of stuff. So I've just kind of stuck with those type of things. But like I said, when I've heard those returns and I've heard the length of time that some people have to stick in things and making $900 a door a month or something like that, I'm like, that's great. And you can do that. You can have 100 doors, but I think that I can make that same amount of money in 6 months and just be done with a lot less of the headaches. But yeah, it's a good game for a lot of serious dudes, and they do a lot of good work out there and turn some stuff that people need, obviously. Yeah. So, yeah. And the good thing too with real estate, I guess you can play in a bunch of different ways. You could flip, you could buy and hold, you could rehab, I don't know, buy land, all sorts of garbage. Yeah, for sure. You never know. Yeah. So tell us about some of the companies that you've been involved in. Yeah. I think, I started business when I was 14. I had my first company, and it was a Italian ice thing. And it was just something I grew up. My uncle was the founder of Kinko's. That was in his heyday. And for some reason, my father was the only one that didn't get involved in the business. He was actually the only one that had something going on when that business started out. So my uncle had kind of recruited everybody in the family that had nothing going on in their lives at that point in time to get involved in this no-name business, right? And my dad was like, no, it's nothing. Of course, looking back upon it, it's like, why didn't you get involved in that? But day one, it's like, I've got this thing going, I'm making money, and why would I go in this thing that's kind of unheard of, right? Yeah. So I grew up just kind of watching this guy just put together this beautiful thing over the course of my childhood, and just watching him do his things, watching this thing go from startup to the point where they had a Super Bowl commercial. And it was like the huge thing. And, I just heard this astronomical amount of money as a teenager, like, we're putting this into one ad or something like that. And I thought that it was a cool thing. So I always wanted to have my own business based upon that, even though my dad was an entrepreneur. Yeah. He was just kind of, and it's great, small business, middle class type of style, and did his own thing and did great, but didn't have the desire to really expand and become huge like my uncle did. And watching him and watching that passion just made me all about business, all involved in it. And I looked for an opportunity when I was 14. Something fell in my lap with this Italian ice thing. Somebody had basically just tried it. He owned a hair salon or something and had like 20 chairs in this salon. So he was doing well. It was down in Southern California where there's a ton of money. And he did this thing as kind of a side project, and then just saw me and saw my ambition and just kind of gave this thing to me, so to speak. And said like, hey, if you ever make money on it and you want to pay me back some money, then go ahead and pay me back. And if you don't, you don't. And that's fine too. And I knew when it was like that it wasn't a scam. It wasn't anybody that was out to kind of get me or anything like that. And so I did this thing, even though I was 14 and I didn't have a car, and, I didn't really have any skills on the phone or knowing anything like that. So I just kind of got rides and rode my bike and did this type of thing to local Italian delis and stuff like that. And, I ended up getting this thing into a bunch of different places, and it didn't make me a ton of money by any means, but it was just kind of my first experience of doing that type of stuff. I had an older friend that was, had a house at that point in time, which was a big deal when you're 14 or something, Oh, yeah. And I had to use his freezers because my parents were like, what is this stupid stuff? We don't want this stuff inside of our house. And I remember the guy called me up one day and he's like, hey, like, I need to move some stuff around. Like, you got to come get your business out of my freezer. Right. And I'm like, oh man, like my whole business is inside of this guy's stupid freezer in his garage, Yeah. And I remember thinking to myself, like, all right, it's time to step up my game a little bit and do something more. So I always had that passion in me, and
when I graduated high school, I really didn't want to go to college, but I kind of did at my parents', kind of way of wanting to do stuff. My grandfather had like saved all this money for all of his 4 grandchildren to go to college. And it was like his main thing, like, you guys are going to be able to go and not have to spend money. And here I am like, well, I really don't want to go. So,
Did you end up going for all 4 years?
No, I ended up going for 1.5 and I just could not take it. And I was like, all right, it's done. It's finally got to be that way. So I went out and I did what anybody would have at that point in time that thought that they were the shit and didn't have any money, and just kind of scrounged and fought and did what it is that I could. And I flopped on my face a whole bunch of times, but just did a whole bunch of different stuff and learned a whole bunch of stuff. So that was awesome. And so yeah, the main business that I ended up getting in after all that for some reason was electrical. And I wanted to do electrical contracting nationwide. I thought that it was a great business. It seemed very white collar in a blue collar world, at least from what I saw. There was more engineering aspects to it and all that type of stuff. And it was something easy that I could get into in the residential market. And then it turned into doing a really good job on a A-lister in Hollywood, doing electrical at their home. And they had asked me to do some holiday lighting on their house. And I thought that it was beneath me. And it ended up that the margin on their holiday lighting project ended up being like 3 times what the margin was on their electrical project. And so I thought, all right, this is what's going to go nationwide. I'm going to be the first guy to take residential Christmas lighting across the country. And I spent the next 20 years making that dream happen. So,
what was the name of your business?
So it started off as something like Holiday Lighting or something like that. And then I changed it to Bright Star. And then I got involved with this guy up here. Name of the company was Bright Nights, where we really took it nationwide. There was a guy up here, a really great guy. He was in Utah. Kind of didn't have too much business acclimate to him, and was ended up doing about 4 times the volume that I was doing, but his net margin was a loss. And so when I wanted to partner up with this guy and put a piece of software together that would kind of revolutionize our own businesses respectively and split the cost on this thing, he said, I'd love to do that, but I have no money to be able to do it. I kind of looked at him dumbfounded, and I said, well, if you let me look at your books, maybe I can help you out a little bit. And a week later, we ended up just becoming partners and doing that. So that was great. The infrastructure that this guy had was a lot larger because he was doing a lot larger as far as volume goes. Yeah. He kind of did the same thing in Park City as I had done in Hollywood, except in Park City, the advantage was that it's a very small knit community. So it's your name goes miles, right? Like everybody kind of knows everybody. And so yeah, we got together and we did that. And
let me ask you something. When you looked at his books, what made you think he'd make a good partner?
Because he was absolutely willing to remove himself from the business. He was kind of like, hey, I can see bankruptcy in the near future. And I don't really know how to dig myself out of this mess. I've got some more loans. I've got this that I can do. I've got a line of credit that I can pull out on my house. And it was more like that type of conversations. How is it that I make this work while it's losing money, as opposed to how do I make this business make money? Right. It was a matter of, how can I continue to hold on like this and live in this kind of scarcity mindset type of thing, as opposed to living in the opposite. So partner-wise, like I said, the infrastructure was there. There was a lot of assets that were involved, obviously. There was a lot of relationships in China that were kind of already built as far as distribution goes. But what wasn't there was the business acclimate and mindset. And
so I'm assuming you took over as general manager?
Yeah, I took over completely. Yeah. And he kind of took a sidestep a little bit, which hurt his pride and ego, because he was a very egocentric type of guy. But he needed it at that point in time, and he appreciated it. And for the next 6 years, kind of in that, he just stayed completely silent. He was there, he existed, but he really didn't do anything whatsoever. And he kind of saw all of the faults that he had made along the way in that 6-year time. And after 6 years, he decided that he wanted to get involved a little bit and take over the sales end of it. And he did a great job on that side when he came back into it. So,
yeah, I find it interesting. So there's a lot of guys in our group, right, they're trying to become more entrepreneurial, and they're looking to buying businesses, and they send me P&Ls all the time, to look at. And I think one thing that people need to understand is a P&L is like one portion of the decision to buy a business or to get involved in a business or to merge or acquire or anything like that. How do you feel? And when I say P&L, net revenue or net profit, what do you think the culture versus the net profit when you're looking at a business to get involved in it? How much do you weigh either one of those?
So when I had gotten that, culture meant absolutely nothing to me. Culture didn't mean anything to me until about a year ago when I was making that transition. And when I had weighed that decision, culture had nothing to do with any of it. It was more, what are assets? Where are people? People are assets. How efficient can these people be? I looked at everybody as a cog as opposed to a human being. I looked at everybody as far as what is it that they can do for me as opposed to what is it that I can do for them. And when I caught that grasp upon culture, and I've now done it 100% to the opposite side in my new business for the last year, it's growing exponentially bigger than I would have ever done it the opposite way.
Yeah.
Leaving everything to amazing people. And yeah.
Is that because you just empower the employees to push the company, right?
100%. Yeah. I've seen that the more that I get out of the way and allow people to do their own stuff, they thrive. And I've seen that in my house with my children, obviously. My wife is great in everything that she does. She's wanted to be a mom from day one, but that to her meant doing everything for all of her kids at any point in time and jumping to conclusions. We've been fortunate enough to have help in our home. And I saw the kids, like, after every single meal, just leave their crap there and get down. And that to a little kid may be fine, but even when it was coming to the point that my 14-year-old was walking away from a meal, just leaving every single thing on the table, and that's just kind of the way that she was raised, I'm like, oh yeah, here it is again. This is the culture that I do not want to have, of having people rely upon other people as opposed to being empowered to do it themselves.
Yeah, I love that. So let's go back a little bit. So did you exit a year ago, or has it been?
Yeah, it was a year ago, exactly.
So were you the sole owner at the time, or did you still have your partner?
No, yeah, we were together 100%.
So kind of walk me through that process, because funny enough, I might be going through the same thing right now with a few things. It's interesting. You build something, you spent 20 years in the business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 20 years is a long time. It's a massive chunk of your life, right? And then your working life is the majority of it for sure, right?
Yeah.
And you get to this point where you're like, should I sell? Should I not sell? Should we make this bigger? Is it time to go? Where's my passions at? I mean, where was your head when you first thought, okay, it's time to sell?
Yeah. So I had built this business. It was 100% solely relying on me. I had developed this software to where basically the software was able to make the entire organization run through my desk, to the point that every single sale that was coming across through our company was being approved by me in real time in order to be sold. And it was extremely micromanaging every single avenue of the business. I mean, I was running my 200 guys across the country. That in itself, as far as operation sense, is a ton of work. And while I was doing that, I was approving every single sale in real time by somebody literally walking up to me with an iPad, handing it in my lap, approving it, getting back to my thing. And that routine would just kind of cycle and happen all the time. So my mindset was, this business is not a business that is going to allow me freedom. I like the business because I liked making money, and that's about all that it was doing. But what I didn't like was working with people that I couldn't create any culture or value into their lives. It was all seasonal. It was a 2-month type of show. We went from 0 to doing $50 million in a month. And that type of business just made me scream and go crazy. And I think that it was like, okay, enough's enough of this. But not only that, this is literally the only thing that I've known my entire adult life. And I want to be able to do something more. Initially, because I had created this software, it was more of that. I'm just going to get into tech and just reinvent myself in my 40s and get into tech. And I think that when I joined the group that we're in, it gave me the confidence to see that I could do anything that I wanted to do. It wasn't like this crazy thing to reinvent yourself when you're 40. It was like, no, I can do it now. I could start a company when I'm 80, even if I'm completely out of shape with whatever, and laying out in a bed, right? Yeah. I can still reinvent myself at that point in time. So the group, the guys, everything like that gave me the confidence. But as far as the exit goes, a year ago, when I was thinking about it, it was more of just the sense that I want to get into something completely new. I'm spreading my efforts solely into this business. I can't do anything besides this. It's not like I can do two things at the same time. So I either need to get out or accept that this is my life. And accepting that that was my life meant not being part of my kids' lives, not being part of my wife's life, and really not seeing an end game as far as how I was going to start to live life and enjoy all the things that I had kind of created and been able to attain in that time. So nice. that to me was everything.
How did you, see, and I can understand that perspective for sure, you know? In fact, I think a lot of us are getting there, right? We're starting to look back at our careers and going, how much freedom do I actually have, or am I tied to this business?
Yeah.
When you realized that and you thought, okay, I'm going to sell this thing, how did you find your buyer?
You know, what I ended up doing, it was easy enough. I just went to my partner. I said, look, I got to get out of this thing. And he said, well, the way that you built it solely relies on you. So you're going to have to stay here for about 2 years to put this thing together and figure out how it is that you're going to exit out of it to where you can do it the right way. And I said, yeah, I'm not into that 2-year process. I don't really care what comes my way financially. I just want to get out of this thing. And so we ended up working out a deal to where just get my monthly, yearly, whatever it is, amount of money, and kind of did it on an indefinite type of handshake. Fortunately, he's a stand-up, straight-up type of guy. And yeah, we literally had a handshake agreement. It was the stupidest thing that I could do against all. But I had literally said to myself, if I lose every single thing that I have right now, including all of my money, including all of my assets, like, I'm good. I just want to start new. I just want to do something different. Okay. And I was willing to walk away from all of it. So the deal itself was not hard.
So are you a silent partner now?
Yeah.
Or are you? Okay.
Yeah,
so he didn't buy you out or anything. You're just,
nope.
Gotcha.
Completely silent.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's he doing with it?
They called me up for about 4 months to the point where it was like 3 times a day phone calls. And I could kind of see the thing that I was just enabling this aspect. Mm-hmm. And the first year they decided to hire 6 people to replace me, my one position. Jeez. And started kind of going back into making bad business decisions, hired 6 different people at all of them 6-figure plus earners. So I think this last year, you know, looking at the books, he ended up going from an extremely high profit margin to 0 again. But some people learn, some people don't. I'm not quite sure why that all that time together didn't kind of stick with him. This year he kind of knows what to do and how to turn it around a little bit. So I sure hope that he does that, but okay. I'm just staying out of it because I know, to me, if I stay involved in it, or even if I look at it too often, it's just going to stress me out because my heart's still there. I still feel loyal to the people that are there. Yeah. Everybody that built that company with me is still there, and I still talk to, obviously, as far as friends go and whatnot.
I was going to say that's going to be a problem, right? Because if they lose faith in the new guy, they're just going to bail.
Absolutely.
Like Exodus bail.
Yeah, for sure. So I could see all that as far as them calling me up. Hey, what do I do? How do I make this work? What should I do in this situation? And all of my stuff was just going to be more talking poorly about their leadership, or telling them to just stick it out and deal with it, which didn't sound good either. So to me, it was like, look, I love you. I respect you. We're friends. Anything that you want to talk about outside of work, I'm here at all times. Let's still go out to lunch once a month. Let's still do this. Let's still check in with each other, but we're not going to talk about work ever again. And it ended up working out fine.
Okay, good.
As far as that goes. No relationships got burned, no bridges, no nothing like that. So that's a good thing.
Have most of those guys stayed?
Most of those guys have stayed, but every single one of them is questioning themselves for sure. And after this last kind of Christmas season, so to speak, you know, which was the first one without me, they were just all kind of back on it and wanting to vent at least. And we're not going to talk business, but I'm going to vent to you about business. And it's like, all right, well, it's kind of hard when like we're friends and this is like 50% of your mindset is being upset about what's going on right now. How is it that you can make it happen? And then on my side, it was like, okay, you want to talk about what I'm doing right now? How's it going? Like, oh, everything's great. My people are happy. I haven't had one person quit in the whole year that I've been doing this business, like 0% attrition rates. And it's been, so that part of it's been difficult, but I've figured out ways to navigate around it and do it the right way.
It's interesting this in business when you're the sole owner, or at least the sole one in charge, especially once you build your systems. I think the only thing, at least, and maybe I'm projecting into the whole world here, that I ever get worried about is like, oh man, what if all these people one day just quit?
Right.
You know?
For sure. I think that's everybody's fear as a business owner, right?
Yeah. Then you kick back, you're like, oh, I should automate some more stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you're like, no, I got good people. I treat them well. I do my best to treat them well. And, I think you can tell when you focus on your employees as people, you have really good attrition.
Yeah.
Very few people quit and leave.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been years since I've had someone quit, and we joke about it because we bring people in. In one of my companies, we just hired a new guy, and like, we don't even have a training program. It's just like, I don't know, man, come work with us. In the first month, we'll figure out the stuff you don't know. And we'll just teach you that along the way. And it's kind of a refiner's fire with us too, because you got to be a self-starter to work for me. If you don't, if you can't figure yourself out on your own, it's like, sorry, man, there's no manual. There's no 2 weeks in a classroom with my HR dude, which is me.
Yeah, exactly.
Teaching you how all this works. I need you to come with some skills.
Yeah.
On your new venture, how many guys you guys have?
So we are up to we're only up to 15 right now. I actually just signed a lease last week on a office space that's about 3 times the size of what we're at currently, which will allow triple the growth.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that because, like I said, culture is everything to me. And what I wanted to do was create a new space to where we could triple in size, but still kind of keep that same type of personal culture that we have. Yeah. We hang out about 2 hours a day with each other during the workday. That is like no work type of stuff allowed. And it's been everything to the people that I have working for me. It's really cool. We don't talk about work. If we have to step out for a phone call, we can do that. But nobody's kind of discussing strategies, discussing ideas during that time. This is literally time to where we're just having fun and developing ourselves and developing our relationships with each other. That's been huge for us. For some reason, we found this one game that everybody seems to like. It's called Codenames. And I thought that this thing was going to last like a week, and they've ended up playing it for months now. And love it. It's like been the daily ritual. Everybody comes back from lunch, they're kind of tired from whatever it is that they ate. It's like, don't want anybody looking at the clock or doing anything like that. And they just have this ritual where everybody just goes back and hangs out until everybody ends up regathering from lunch, because everybody comes back at different times, obviously. Yeah. Then they sit there and play a game for about an hour with each other, and it's hilarious. And we switch up teams and we switch up that. So as we get bigger in size, I do not want to lose that kind of personal touch with each other, because it's everything to everybody. Yeah. So it's a really good thing.
So and what's the business doing?
So the business is recruiting, and it's in accounting and finance, which the industry doesn't matter. What I know about recruiting is zero, and I intentionally wanted to keep it that way. It was in my last business. I know everything about it. I know the ins and outs of every single thing. And if I do that again, I know that I'm going to be going down the wrong path. Right. So my job is simply to bring people in and to make sure that they're not going to leave. And as long as I'm focused on that, they can do their job and do it themselves. So I do have somebody that knows the industry extremely well. It's actually my sister-in-law. We wanted to get in business with each other about 25 years ago. And stuff just didn't work out at that point in time. She went off on her own separate way and was working for a company for about 25 years and wanted an investment from me to be able to start up her own business. So I let her do that, and she ran it for about a year and realized that running a business was not for her, and that she just wanted to continue to love the industry that she's doing. So when I was looking at switching businesses, this was the perfect one to kind of jump in, because I already had a partner that was amazing in the industry, but wanted nothing to do with the business, nothing to do with culture, nothing to do with anything besides the industry itself. Yeah. And to me, that was kind of awesome, because obviously that's everything that I love. And not dealing with somebody else, being a control freak that I still am, I didn't really want to learn that aspect of it. So I have enough with my wife learning relationships and partnerships and that type of stuff. So
I was going to ask you, and it's in California, so you go to California almost every week.
Yeah, I do.
And that's the reason then. So because your sister-in-law was running this business, and did you just take a larger role? Did you make more of an investment? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Yeah, we were already 50-50 as far as equity goes. But to me, it was more of, I want to go down there and be with these people and be with them firsthand and really see what it is that I need to do. So I had this full intention where it was a 1-year plan. I was going to go down there for a year. I was going to exit it. It was going to be running itself. And then I was going to travel the world and do whatever the hell it is that I wanted to do. And we've gotten there number-wise at this point in time, as far as being able to do that anyways, from the fortunates that I've had in my previous business regardless. But I enjoy the hell out of the business. It's amazing. It's fun being with people that are absolutely cool in every way. I mean, We hire people as a team. Everybody kind of has to approve these people. Me and my partner get together and we interview the people. Once they meet it through our standards, we'll put it through everybody and let them interview and play this game even with people on the interview, which is a fun thing to do, and kind of get backgrounds and histories of everybody. And once everybody approves them, then they're good to be accepted and welcome to the fold, so to speak, and welcomed in. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, it's been really good.
So on your staff, outside of, I mean, what are they mostly salespeople? Are they project managers?
Yeah, so these people are all what we call full desk recruiters, and they are right out of college. Everybody's a graduate with the exception of one. This one kid that we have working for us, he came to us and said, look, I know that I haven't graduated college. I never even went to college, in fact. But what I did do was I grew up in a trailer because my parents were meth heads, and I had to keep my family together. And after I was able to get out of their house and do whatever, I went to go sell for this company, and he was selling for like Spectrum or some horrible internet company, you know? Yeah. And he brought forth everything that we were looking for in an individual. He's the only one that we kind of gave the shot that hadn't graduated college. And he's one of our top people, so it's awesome, and we're glad that we gave him that opportunity. But this guy came from the school of hard knocks for sure. Yeah. Street smarts as all can be, and I could see it in him. But yeah, so these people come in as what we call full desk recruiters. So they handle the client side and the candidate side. Other companies, when they're larger, just kind of spread it out. They're able to have people work remote by just finding candidates, just basically sourcing people, so to speak, and then passing it off to somebody else's desk, you know, kind of somebody, an opener, a closer, and all this type of stuff. We just kind of do it all as one. And the culture that I created was interesting because I didn't want to have something that was driven on KPIs, which every recruiting company that I know is based upon KPIs. How many calls you're doing, how many deals you're closing, how many, whatever it is that you're doing. For me, it was, if you can come here and you're going to make $50,000 for yourself, you're going to make me more than that anyways. What do I care if you want to make $50,000 a year and you're going to be happy with it? Great. Then I have my other people that are making well into double six-figure deals, you know, first year out of college and stuff like that. And it's amazing. And so what I wanted to do was provide an environment to where you could do whatever it is that you wanted to do, as long as you were not losing money for the company and you were an asset as far as culture goes. Then you have a seat, you have the availability to do what it is that you want to do. So we provide them with all the tools that they need, obviously, as far as, you know, for their industry goes. Lessons on how to do it, mentorship from us and from the, you know, individuals that they work with. But for the most part, it's the environment itself. Everybody is excited to come to work every day, which is really cool. Yeah. Like, it is a big frat house as far as I'm concerned, without the alcohol and the drugs.
Yeah. So, and in your world, right, you're these people, they have relationships with companies, then they go and they keep on just bringing in recruits, basically, right? Then you try to match them with certain companies that are your clients.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do you find the businesses?
So, you know, what's easy is that since we're in accounting and finance, we deal with CPA agencies. And as you may know, working with CPAs, it's typically the person that just sets up their shop. They're there until they retire, and then they die, right? Whatever it is that they do. So the advantage of that for us is the actual decision maker is the same person, is the same phone number, is the same email for 40 years. So it's not the same residual as other recruiting agencies where HR is always constantly ever changing. Right. HR is even hard to find who that person is. Our business, fortunately, is CPAs that are already pulling their hair out from the amount of work that they have to do, and they're spending rarely any time developing and building their business. Yeah. They're doing the work. They're the sole operator. They obviously have people working with them. So they're always looking. So our services, as long as they have demand, which people are always filing taxes, right? Recession or not, they're looking for good recruits. So for the most part, what our job is to find a candidate that we know is going to be somebody that has a great type of track record, obviously, as far as an employee goes, or came from one of the big 4 CPA firms, and then market that person out to the firms that we feel that they would be a good fit at. So,
and then do you guys just take a percentage?
We do. Yeah. Recruiting is an interesting industry. Do you know too much about it?
A little bit. I've toyed with them. So, I mean, a lot of my knowledge comes from Andrea Beret, Matt's wife.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and she's great. I actually had the chance to talk to her last week for the first time. Her and Ashley got together over at the Queen's Retreat, which was amazing. And she just said, "Hey, I've got X amount of years in this industry. I'd love to talk to your husband and offer what experience I can offer." Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting industry because it is. We got 25% of the person's annual salary. So if we're placing somebody at $400,000, they're giving us a commission check for $100,000.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of just introducing them and making that relationship and the checks in the mail. So
what happens if that person doesn't work out?
So we give a guarantee of 90 days. That's about all that we can offer because at that point in time, it's on the company to make sure that they're doing the right thing for their employees and whatnot. We basically are offering that guarantee to where somebody has said that they know what it is that they know and guarantee that they actually know it, because there is people that come in and even though they have whatever they have on their resume, it was just all a bunch of lies and can't really verify it and do that type of stuff. When these people are trying to leave one company and we're recruiting them out of their current company into a different company, it's not like we can call them up and get references per se at that point in time. Yeah. So we make sure that our companies test them out as much as they can. But our fallout rate has been 1 in 100. So it's been huge. We've given a refund on that, 1 in 100, and it's fine. It is what it is. It's just part of the deal. But
and then your sales agents, they just split the commission with the company?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
So
how many people, like if you're one of your employees and one of your salespeople, right? How many people do they need to place a week?
Yeah. So,
just in their own heads. I know there's no,
that's the greatest, that's the greatest thing is that, they literally only need to make one placement a month in order to, cover their draw, right? Which is what they're satisfied on anyways. Okay. We have people obviously making a whole heck of a lot more than one placement and they're making a bunch of money. Yeah. It's an interesting industry because you do have to send out a lot of interviews, a lot of rejections, a lot of everything. Even when you get an offer for a candidate and you're all excited, like I've got you an offer, it's 20,000 more than the current company that you're working at, whatever it is, they can still go back to their company and say, "Hey, can you match this offer or even beat it?" Right. And then you've done all this work and it's for nothing. So
it just goes.
Yeah. So it's interesting for me, like we talked about in the starting of this conversation, as far as long-term, playing the long-term game and that type of stuff and getting wins, right? Some of these people are getting one win a month. And that's, like I said, it's good enough financially for them. But even on that side, like emotionally, it's still good enough for them to get that one win a month to where they enjoy the environment enough to where it's okay. Because, sales is difficult. You're getting hung up on, you're getting rejections all the time. And when you're closing one deal a month, it seems like it wouldn't be enough, but for some people it is, and that's fantastic. At least they're getting that win once a month.
I'll tell you, it's interesting. I've heard of some recruiters in tech, they had a heyday the last 2 years, right? I mean, they were just, every tech company trying to buy every freaking employee they could. For sure. Now I just see these massive layoffs happening left and right. And did you guys ever want to play in the tech world, or are you always just going to stick in the...
Yeah, so we're looking to go into legal next. That's kind of the next thing, as far as same thing. Firm owners typically stay in terms of that type of stuff. My businesses have always been based upon residual type of stuff. Doesn't look the same as far as merchant processing or any of that type of stuff in terms of residuals, but it looks the same to me as far as something itself is valuable for the following sale. And I see that in the legal world, so we'll go right in there.
Okay, cool.
Kill it there.
So what's the best way to find a candidate? Is it just like going through LinkedIn?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we have multiple things, subscriptions, so to speak, that we pay for. We pay for Indeed, we pay for LinkedIn, we pay for Monster is still around somehow. So we do that, and it's basically just scouring the internet and looking for people. Time of day is a big one as well, because people tend to post their resumes at night, obviously after their job, or first thing in the morning. So we get on that. It's kind of the same thing as far as real estate. Like, you got to be right there when somebody's, for sale by owner, so to speak. Like, you want to be the first one to call and try to make that deal work. So we're on it. Yeah, we call. Yeah. We're just automatically on it. Call, text, email. Just it's a numbers game. Just put it all out there and see what it is that we can do and make it work.
Is the pitch to them just be like, "Hey, we're one of the best companies who can place you quick, so come in our world"? Yeah,
that's exactly it. And I think that they hear that from a lot of recruiters. The advantage of us is that, a lot of people say, what is it that sets you apart from the next guy and all this type of stuff. I mean, I can talk great about my company as anybody you would think would. Yeah. The advantage of us is that we're actually like, I tell my people to stay focused and stay sharp. And that means not just kind of chasing the buck, so to speak. So as opposed to chasing 50 different leads, they're getting on one and following through with that lead and making sure that they follow through with it and not picking up another one until they've completely followed through with that one. So they're actually showing up and doing what it is.
So is the office kind of a buzz with just people on the phone? And
yeah, 100% of the time. I mean,
when they play great. Somebody, we're dinging a bell, that kind of stuff.
We are. We got this. Those gas station blow-ups, right? And I did it to where it was like a smart plug. So they say something on Alexa and thing gets up and waves its hands around and do that. And everybody gets up and cheers for them and that type of stuff. So
cool.
That's a good type of thing. But yeah, it's cool. Everybody's got their headsets on. So a lot of people, as you know, like to talk when they're on the phone. So they're, even sometimes they're like circling around my desk, just to mess with each other or whatever. Right. Like trying to do my own thing and stay quiet with my headphones on and concentrate on my laptop. And they're just storming around me and having fun.
So do you head down tonight or tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Yeah. I always go down Tuesday afternoon so I can drop the kids off Tuesday morning and at least spend that time with them.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
that's a good thing. Yeah.
Are you coming back on Fridays?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So you were spending 2 full days in the office then?
Yeah, exactly.
2.5 days in the office?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
To me, it's easy, right? To my wife, it's like, yeah, it's 2.5 days that you're gone. Like, to me, it's like, it's only 2.5 days. To her, it's like, it's 2.5 days.
Yeah.
So
when you're flying down, what are you thinking about? Like, what's the next thing you're like, I got to implement this, got to do this. How do I grow this?
Yeah. For me, it is all about all the stuff that we're learning inside of our WAP program. To me, it's all about personal development. It's about spirituality. It's about religion. Everybody that I have seen and strived to be like most recently all has an abundance mentality. We went down to this conference at MW3 conference that Sandlot put on. Brilliant, amazing. Hearing from people like Todd Peterson and Gail Miller and, Steve Young, hearing people that have already, so to speak, made it as far as made it is concerned and really still trying to give back to the community in every way, shape, and form that's possible. To me, it was like, I wish that I would have known that 20 years ago, business would have been so much easier if I would have just given instead of trying to take. And so when I'm going down, I'm making sure that I am the best me by making sure that whatever flaws I found in myself over the weekend, because I find a lot of them being with my wife and my kids over the weekend, whenever it is that I'll get some sort of concern going on in my head or stress or not being present or whatever, making sure that I'm concentrating on all those type of things so I can walk in the door to the office and be the energy that I need to be for everybody, obviously.
So are you able to shut work out when you're not there and just save it for when you're there?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. It's great. At my last business, when we would go through Christmas time, obviously that was a huge thing. Phone was on me. I mean, I was 24 hours a day. I would sleep 3 hours for 2 months, like 3 hours every night for 2 months straight. Yeah. That was just what it was. Which was easy in my 20s and 30s. As it started to get in my 40s, it was like, whoa, this stuff's wearing on me a little bit,
Yeah.
But now it's like, I have the ability to completely shut down my phone and put it in the drawer and completely go free from it, and only pick it up at nights for the sake of friends. Right. But work, because I don't know anything about the industry, is amazing. There's nothing that I really have to respond to. I mean, I figured out how to automate all finance type of stuff, which is brilliant. Yeah. Thanks to all these awesome software tech companies that are out there at this point in time. The only thing that I need to do is just make sure that I'm there for my people if they need me, and they don't need me for work on the weekends, which is great. And Mondays, I know, is just my time with the family to kind of extend that. I did try to do 5 days a week away from the family when we were first starting the business out. Yeah. I needed that, obviously. But as I was able to make the time for it, it was just like, hey guys, I won't be here on Mondays and you guys can figure it out. And they obviously can, and it's great. So
yeah. No, that schedule sounds dope. Are you getting sick of flying down there yet?
No, to me, it's great. Like, this is kind of the part that I said to you, like, if there's any part that's going to piss off my wife, it's this part. Being a bachelor 3 days a week is amazing. I love my kids. I love my wife. If I was with them, I definitely wouldn't be like, I wish I was doing that. But being down in Southern California, getting off work at 5, like a normal time, like everybody else, and being able to go for a run on the beach, like, just stay there at sunset, do whatever it is that I want, get together with dinner with friends or whatever. Like, this is the area that I grew up in. All my family's down there. All my friends are down there that I grew up with and went to my 1.5 years of college with, are still down there and whatnot. So yeah, it's a great time.
Oh, that's awesome. No, that sounds desirable.
Yeah, for sure. There's some advantages to it. Absolutely.
You surf much?
I don't surf at all, okay. But we've been trying out for this Ironman. Me and Cody are going to do 3 Ironmans this year. Oh, are you guys? 2 halves and a full. So it's been a lot of training and a lot of fun for that type of stuff. It was just kind of good. Endurance was the next thing to do,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's great. Plus, I have this theory. It's probably not true, but it's my theory. It's the Book of Mark. I think that people need sea air to like function. It's almost like you get like energy out of the sea. And if anyone's, here in Utah, it's interesting, because some people never leave Utah, right? And they're just like, oh yeah, we got lakes here, we got all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, man, the ocean's just different.
Yeah.
You get that salt water, spray, mist, I don't know, being on the beach, hearing it. It's just very therapeutic.
It is, for sure.
There's nothing like that here.
Yeah. Optimally, if you could have the 2 or 3 houses, I know exactly where they'd be, right? They'd be a little bit of each one of nature, be able to enjoy whatever it is that you want to enjoy at all times. So yeah, that's good. Let's get off business for a second. I want to ask you a question because I'm curious. Yeah. Only because of my lunch conversation today that I had with somebody from our group, or maybe it was last night actually, but it was kind of last time that me and you got together was dinner at my house, and we had kind of talked about your sense of God and who God was or who God wasn't and all that type of stuff, and you were still right in the lines of atheism, but I've heard that stuff's changed a little bit for you over the past 30 days or 60 days or whatever it is.
I have softened my stance on that. Yeah.
There you go.
I think, gosh, where do I begin on that question? Yeah. So almost a year ago, in May, I did what I would call a spiritual journey, for the first time.
Yeah.
And it kind of allowed me to, so I left the religion I grew up in, the LDS Church, about 13 years ago. And when I did that, what I refer to as a burning down. I burnt everything down to the ground, right? All belief systems, all religions, anything that I thought, I just burnt it down to basically atheist. And the reason I did that was to hit the reset button, basically, right? I wanted to build it up in the truths that I realized and I knew and all that kind of stuff, right? But then I had kids and I was working a lot, and I, prioritized my wife a lot in different things and spending time with her. And so I kind of left it in that gear for a long time, almost like, well, maybe I'll get back to this when I feel like it, and kind of following my heart a little bit and being present in that sort of thing. So I was atheist, for like 13 years. And so in the last, it's probably actually been more like 6 months. I've probably just been vocal about it for the last like 60 days. I'm very open to the possibility of there being some sort of a God out there, or like a presence or a being that I think that we live on forever. And being very personal right now, I've not wanted to turn that thought process on because I don't want to be disappointed again. But I'm kind of at the point now where I think it's a little undeniable for me to not say that I feel like that's going to happen. And I'm a very logical person, I actually feel like I'm very convicted in my thoughts, but if people bring me evidence and want to change my mind, I'm really quick to just change my mind.
Yeah.
Because I feel like being teachable is a very, very, very important principle. And so, but yeah, I mean, we've meditated together at Ryan's house and a couple different things. I've been really heavy on meditation for probably 9 months, something like that. I've actually kind of done meditation my whole life. I've just done it in different ways, right? Sometimes I'll turn the radio off and I'll just drive to work, for 30 minutes back then. And I would just meditate really, but I just clearing my mind and organizing my thoughts and decide on who I want to be. And recently I've been more meditating into the universe. Give me what I need. I'm ready to hear it. I'm kind of ready to feel it, and I'll follow whatever my heart kind of desires. So it's kind of kind of my thoughts on it. What about you?
I heard this thing. It was the difference of faith versus belief. And I feel like we all set ourselves up for failure when we believe in something, because we don't actually trust the universe. We don't actually trust all these things that are coming at us. So when crap hits the fan, so to speak, we're pissed off. Who's the God that would do this type of stuff?
Yeah.
But as we've seen, once we've gotten over that crap that hit the fan it 9 times out of 10 leads out to be something that ended up being better for our lives and stuff that we had to go through. Right. So it was like, that to me is the definition of faith and kind of where I'm at. Yesterday I had an awesome experience. It was, we've continued to, as I've shared with you, go to church because our feelings are just kind of like, we know that saying that we're the only true church, so to speak, is very not oneness, which is the definition of God as oneness, right? So we've been kind of turned off as far as that goes, but we've still been attending church, as I had told you, for the sake of our kids. I didn't want to be the type of guy that was like, okay, well, what's next? Like, I don't know what's next, other than that was a lie, and let's not believe it. So now we're going to go on to this. Yeah. And what I've come up with is that, all churches are true, and all of them have truth to them, the same exact truth that's shared through every single Eastern and Western religion. And they all have the human error that's gotten involved in it. And because have free will, which I believe, and I could come over there and kill you right now, so to speak. I know that free will exists, right? Yeah. I'm not that crazy person that's going to do that. But because I know that free will exists, I know that human error can get in any single religion. So yesterday I went to church with my wife, who's been very keen on all of this stuff and learning all this stuff, learning about other types of religions, keeping her mind open. And she said to me, hey, I'm going to go teach Relief Society, and I think that it's going to stir some stuff up. Do you want to come? And of course, I'm like, okay, well, what is this going to be? Like, you're going to say some weird stuff here and there. And for an hour, she got up there and said stuff that I was like, are you really saying this right now? Are you really saying this right now? I mean, for me to even walk inside of the Relief Society room as a man and sit there for an hour, like, that doesn't happen, which it should, because it's your wife teaching. Like, it should happen every time, right? You should be part of that if you want to be part of it. But I sat there and I listened, and I was blown away, and I kept looking around the room like, what are these people going to think about all this type of stuff that she's saying? And she paused on 3 different occasions to say, what does everybody think about this? And as you've been, we're in the church, that anytime that anybody pauses, everybody's going to try to do what they can do to pipe in here and there, right? Maybe they're put on the spot. Nobody said anything on all 3 pauses. And she just went, okay, I'm just going right back into it. And she just went right back into it. Dang. And what was interesting to me was I heard this thing at the conference, and I'm going to, basically a paraphrase, so to speak. But Steve Young got up there at that conference, and he talked about how this guy's the poster boy for the church, right? He basically said something to my interpretation that was, if I leave the church, it's going to stir up a whole F storm, because everybody knows me. I'm Steve Young. I've been the poster boy for the church my whole life. Yeah. So he's like, I believe that the church is true, but it really doesn't matter if it's true or not to me. I got to stay in this church, because if I leave it, everything that it gave me growing up, then I'm kind of turning my back on it. So I would never leave the church, even if I thought that it was completely false. He said, what I can say, though, is that every single time that I speak in church, because everybody always wants to have Steve Young talking in their wards, there's 10 people that come up to me after every talk that basically say, hey, are you sure that you should be saying that stuff? He's like, I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to say what it is. Yeah. So I didn't tell that story to my wife, but she ended up doing it. And I was very proud of her. It was really cool. People came up after her and said, like, hey, I don't know about this stuff that you're saying, but like, I appreciate you vocalizing what it is that you're saying. And she got up there and said stuff basically like that. Like, we're all supposed to be loving each other. This is all about love. This is all about making sure that you don't feel like you're better than the next guy. What's the reason that we don't have judgment? It's because if you do have judgment, you think that you're better than somebody else, and it separates you from that other person, and then you can't help that other person. So it's, the oneness in Christ, the oneness in religion, the oneness in whatever it is it's there. It's astounding, as you've seen it many times in your life as you've had these experiences. So that for me is where it's like, it doesn't matter if I stay in the church or I leave the church. All that matters is that I help whoever it is that's in my pathway at any point in time, whether that's inside of this building or not, or whatever. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm a fraud going there, because I'm real. If somebody comes up to me and says, do you believe this, that we're the only... I'm not going in for a Temple Recommend interview, because I know that I'm going to have to lie, and I don't want to lie. So no more Temple Recommend. It is what it is. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just being myself and being real and learning every single day, like you said, because I'm sure that you learning in business is only available by making sure that you don't think that you know what's right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
on every occasion.
I'll tell you, something's kind of got my mind racing as you're saying that. I've been joking around with people. You're going to hear me say this a lot now. And I'm sick of reading books. Like, I'm just sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm sick of reading these freaking help yourself books, these business books. Number one, they all steal all their ideas from philosophy. All of them.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Like, Tony Robbins hasn't said anything that Marcus Aurelius didn't live,
Yeah.
And so I've got a couple of philosophy books I've knocked out the last few months, and I'm really cognizant of my time, that I spend my time with who I want to, and that it's like as 100% that I possibly can. And I look and I see people, I think that everybody has the answers inside you. And a lot of religions will actually say that. And to me, that's one of the eternal truths. Kind of like what you were saying, all these religions have some truth in them. They do. Be good to people. Karma. Don't steal. Don't sleep with your, someone who's not your wife. I mean, these are common sense, logical things, right? And they've been wrapped up in different religions. And I look at it and I go, for me, I really just hope. And to me, hope is the purity of faith, right? I just hope that I live forever. I just hope that I'm with my family. I hope that I'm with my wife in the ethos. Maybe we're just energy. Maybe we're beings. I have no idea. No one knows, right? And I always joke around. It's a line from Hook, right? Like, death is the last great adventure, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I've thought that my whole life, mostly because it's one of my favorite movies, right?
Yeah.
And, now that I look at my life and I just think, you know what? Okay, I'm going to turn into me and decide what I believe, what I want to do. And it's going along with what you're saying. Every day I'm just going to do what I think is best. Yeah. If I have a friend that wants to tell me something that's hard, and I'll listen to him, or tell me what's good, or, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be a presence in everyone's life that wants me there for good.
Yeah.
Right. Or a safe place for them, or a friendship, or even if it's once a year, I mean, everyone's crazy busy.
Right.
And it's like, and I imagine in the Christianity realm, because when I left the church, I had a lot of people ask me, well, what are you going to say to Christ, if you ever get judged by him? I'm like, that would be the easiest conversation of my life. He knows me better than anybody, right? Mm-hmm. He knows my thoughts. He even knew what I was going to do. Yeah. It's like, I did exactly what you thought I was going to do. You know what I mean? It just kind of, when you look at it like at that, 100,000 foot view, you kind of think like, yeah, of course, look at my life. I've been really, really good to people. Yeah. I don't steal, I don't cheat, I don't lie. Like all the basic stuff that you do to humanity, right? I've been really good at doing that. Yeah, sure, I've got faults and I've sinned, or whatever you want to call it. But I really think at the end of the day, I just hope that I choose every day to live my life in a way that makes me a better person. And I look at myself for that. I don't look at, a set of religion or even the laws. Yeah. Laws are stupid too. Not stupid, but there's laws that don't make sense. Right. And I don't know. I just try and make sure that I'm in line with my own self. That's why I like the meditation stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When we get deep into, spirituality and to our own self, I truly feel like that's when I know myself the most, and when I'm at one with myself, and when I'm at one with the universe, Yeah. The interesting thing of what you said was, I always used to think, and I don't know where you were as far as with money goes. I always thought like when I get this money, I can use it as a tool to do these type of things. Like if somebody's down on their luck, I want to be able to go for 2 weeks with them to Europe and travel around with them or do whatever. I always thought these grandiose things, And now I realize like having money only gives me the ability to be able to not be pulled in all these different directions that I feel like I should have to go to chase money. And now I can just be able to serve, so when I walk into my business, I'm able to serve my people because I truly don't care if we make money or not. It doesn't matter to me at this point in time. Yeah. We're doing better than ever because I have that mentality. I truly believe inside of myself, but I'm not fighting for a buck here and there. I'm just trying to serve them. Somebody calls me up and says that their father or something's happened. I'm getting on a plane and flying to them and helping them and doing whatever it is that I can. If somebody's sending me a text message to say that somebody's down on their luck, we're all funding this thing. That was beautiful when you sent out that text message the other day, and all of a sudden, like we've doubled down on whatever money they've been trying to raise for 2 or 3 months, in a matter of hours or something like that. But no, that felt good. Yeah, that to me at this point in time is the meaning of money. To me before, I thought that it was freedom to just be able to burn out, so to speak, or travel or do whatever. Now freedom is meant to serve. And I no longer feel like I need to serve this God who's going to be pissed off at me if I don't. Serving is now like, that's all that I want to do.
It's all that I want to do, because that's all that brings me happiness and joy is serving, whether it's my wife and my kids as first priority, my employees are as second, and everybody else in whatever capacity that I can.
Yeah.
And I truly feel that when we do that, we're vessels of this God, whatever it is that he's called, not called, he, she, whatever. Right. and we do exactly what we're supposed to be doing. But yeah, when people say that same thing to me, what do you think if Christ were to come down? Like, I'm serving what, and it's not a matter of like, before it was, well, what are you doing to serve? Now I don't even feel offended by these people that say that stuff to me. It's just a matter of, I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's it. Yeah. And I mean, I've seen it on everybody that goes through this journey. They're nothing but happy. Like, I truly feel like, and I said this at the last Ludus when I stood up there, and I don't know if you remember that, when I said, like, I haven't struggled in X amount of months. Like, I know that people might not have realized the depth of what that is, but I truly, like, I don't have any stress. I don't have anything. Stuff still comes in my way the exact same way. I just don't let it affect me. Like, it's no longer there, because I know who I am. I know that I am, right? And I know that I'm doing everything that I can be, and that I'm everything. And
I
it's
absolutely
beautiful.
Remember that. I loved hearing you speak.
Yeah.
So there's I don't know. I don't know if I talk a lot in there. I don't talk enough. I don't know. I get prodded both ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in my own head. I'm like, I don't know, let someone else talk this time, you know? But I don't know. Maybe that's one of the things I love about those Luduses, right? Is we can talk. We're spreading like our knowledge, and like there's almost like a confirmation in there too sometimes, right? Because when you're a business owner, or even when you're an employee, or you gather teams, right? Sometimes you feel all alone. You know, you're just like, man, I'm like, am I doing this right? Am I doing everything, that I should be doing? And when we get our group together, man, I just get so much energy out of the room, which is also why I believe in spirituality. Energy is really the source for everything. Yeah. Because energy is just, it's real. You can actually calculate it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love it. No, I loved hearing you. And I definitely poked my ears up when you stood up.
It's cool.
But one thing you kind of said made me think, there's a quote, I'll probably butcher it because I don't write this stuff down, but it's basically like, you don't want to ask for less challenges. You want to ask to be stronger so you can handle your challenges. Right. Yeah. And I think that's one of the most true things I've ever heard. I want to get stronger every day, mentally stronger every day. I don't need less problems coming my way, because I can deal with problems, and I can deal with problems quickly. The stronger I am, the faster that happens. And then I get back to just, kind of having peace in my life kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm the exact same way. I've been doing cold showers for the last year. I don't do them in Southern California because there's no point in comparison to Utah water, right? Yeah. Literally, like, there's no point. So it is so cold, but it's that same thing. It's like, I do not want to do this, so I'm going to do it. It's going to make me stronger. And after all the stuff that we've been doing at the Luduses and those cold showers and jumping in head on to everything that I come in contact with that I don't want to do, it's made me so strong. And I've actually thought about inside of my head of all the things that I was like, what is it that would affect me right now? How can I put myself in that situation to test myself or do something like that? Because I think that it's life. It's beautiful. When you can actually try to develop and grow every single day, it's amazing. But I also know, like, if you were to tell me any of this stuff that we've been talking about for the last however long we've been talking 5 years ago, I wouldn't have believed any of it. I would have thought that it was all garbage, all gibberish. It's like, what can I do to head down this pathway? I don't know. Call Jimmy, give him $1,500 a month.
Right, exactly. Right. It's just like, I don't know. Go jump off some stuff. Yeah, exactly. Jump in some cold water.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. A year ago when I kind of had my little, I don't know if we want to call it a spiritual awakening. That seems too hashtag.
Right.
But I had a thought when I was in this moment thinking, and that thought that came to me was, you are not living up to your potential. And at first I fought it, right? I was just like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm success in like almost every category that you can, quantify. And I just had this vision of me just being like a higher self, not even a higher self, but like just a better version, one that worked a little bit harder, was trying harder. And really all came down to like me being mentally stronger. And I kind of committed in that moment. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to be mentally stronger. I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to, if I see someone needing something, I'm just going to go do it. Right. Or if I have a thought pop in my head, like text this person or call this person, I'm just going to do it. And I'm not going to even question why. I'm just going to just be in the moment. Yeah. And it's funny because I've done that a few times, especially at the start with some of the guys in our group, right? Like I'd call them or I text them, and they'd be like, oh, why you call, man? I'm like, I don't know. Just thought about you, so I'm just calling.
Right.
You know, I don't know. What are you up to? What are you doing? You know, and they're just like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting, you know. And the more I did that, I actually got a call from Jake Waldron the other day. And Jake and I text a lot, but he doesn't call, right? So, you know, what's up, dude? And he's just like, hey, man, just trying to be like you. I just thought about calling, boom. And I was just like, cool.
Good job.
Like, great, man, what are you doing? And he's talking about what he was up to that weekend. And then, you know, what I was up to. We went to Sundance this last weekend, so he was asking me about going up there. Cool. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's so refreshing and fun, right? And it almost goes back down to energy, right? It's like, because those choices are made, you just kind of kick this positive energy between two people.
Yeah.
You know, like just, we were talking about New York on a freaking text chain one time, man. I love that freaking place. And it wasn't anything special what we were saying. Like if someone read our conversations, you'd be like, oh, just two guys talking about New York. But it's like, it was just making me happy to chat with you about New York. I just love that.
It's powerful place. For sure. Yeah.
So,
that, I talked to somebody about, even that couples trip that we went on to Brazil and whatnot. And, it said like, why didn't you go? And they were like, yeah, we didn't really, one of the issues was money, but the secondary reason was the fact that they didn't know anybody there, right? And they didn't know how it was going to be. And they're like, if we can travel anywhere in the world, why don't we just go do it on our own? I can tell you, like, me and my wife spent a lot of time individually on that trip because I wanted to build something with her, and didn't want to feel like I had to be around the group at every second, but also wanted to be around the group, obviously, and so did she. But I mean, being around that and having everybody in that like mindset and that energy that came from everything and watching everybody do their special things and, you know, each individual uniqueness, like it was everything. I am so grateful that I did that as opposed to have gone on with my wife on a trip on just the two of us. I mean, it was everything. And I think that that's what it is. It's like you said, it's that energy that came from it, that arose from it, that just, it makes it everything. It's life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in life is just a bunch of experiences, right? It's why our group is so cool. We have like, I don't know if I say 8 experiences every time we have a Ludus, right? 5 to 8.
Yeah.
There's always something, there's this and this, and you get different stuff out of it. But like at the end of these Luduses, it's like, yeah, I've just been with these 50 guys and like we all did this and we walked on fire, you know, we did this cold plunge and we jumped off of a cliff and, you know, we had these moments where we shared stuff with each other. We did breath work. We did, you know, meditation. We stayed up late doing karaoke. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just dumb crap. Right. You know,
wrestling,
yeah. I didn't participate in that. I didn't want Ryan to break my back. But I'll tell you, there's a big part of me that's like, oh, I should try Ryan. I might be able to get him, which is a stupid way to
No way.
There's no way. When they were all there joking about it, I was like, you guys, the second he flips that switch and realizes you're wrestling, it's over. Right. It's just over. Nuts. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And there was an injury.
Yeah. So think about this. We're going to be, okay, this will not release until we have our Ludus. So you're going to love this.
Yeah.
You know what a stun gun is, right?
Yeah.
I bought a stun knife.
Okay.
So the edges of this knife are a stun gun.
Okay.
And then Matt Bray bought one.
Okay.
And so we're going to bring him up there and have stun gun knife fights. But when I first saw it, I actually saw it on like TikTok or something stupid, right? And it was like this self-defense course, and this guy was trying to like block this guy from stabbing him with the knife, and it's kind of learn how to like get a knife out to hit you. And so I sent a picture of it to Matt, and I was like, prepare next Ludus. And he thought I meant buy it. Right. So he bought one too. They're like $80 on Amazon. And so we're going to bring those things up there. It might not be a hit. Maybe people think it's stupid or maybe it'll be freaking funny. Right. I don't know.
Is it pretty strong in terms of power?
I don't know. I literally got it like 2 days ago.
Okay. So you haven't turned it on.
I haven't tried. I got to charge it first.
All right.
From the video, it looked like it gets you pretty good.
I would imagine so. Anything like that sets you down.
But I also think, I don't know, part of the Ludus is too, like, you know, the whole karaoke thing we did last time. Were you up there hanging out?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So all that was is I walked in the room and Dakota's, you know, setting up all this stuff. And I was like, I grabbed the mic. I was like, yo, 1, 2, 1. And he's like, oh, dude, we can put music on this. I was like, do it. And then what were we, karaoke 3 times?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
That.
Yeah.
It was just, it's dumb. You know, I can't sing.
It's dumb. It's dumb, but it's awesome.
Fun. Yeah.
It's awesome for sure.
I mean, even Melissa came up there and she was singing her songs and like, it was just like getting other dudes up there and Brian Bridger, you know, freaking can't carry a tune. That makes me laugh my ass off.
It doesn't matter.
But it just was fun.
Yeah.
You know, it was just freaking fun. And so I think we need that too, right? I mean, I think guys, especially in our age, right, in our 40s, like we need to have some fun, like stupid fun, not like golf fun.
Yeah.
Because golf's not that fun.
No, we're just pretending like we're whatever. We're being serious, but we're pretending like we're something else or something. When we go up to those Ludices, it's fun.
Yeah.
I have this video of Matt where he was rubbing snow all over his chest or whatever, and I slowed it down, did it in slow motion. It's comical, but yeah, we all just get up there and have fun.
Oh, he was hilarious, man. He's like, I'm going to be the first one in the water. I was like, have at it, buddy.
You're on it.
I know I jumped off the rope that's swinging Moab first, but the rest of you guys be first. Knock yourselves out.
For sure. Yeah. Dude. Speaking of that, what are you thinking about the waterboarding? You're in?
I'm not worried about the waterboarding at all.
Cool.
And maybe it's, I don't know. I just think there's no way they're going to hurt us.
Right.
Right. So I don't think the level of danger is there. Jimmy did tell me though, that they went really easy on the first group and they're not going to go easy on us. They're going to go less easy on us.
Right.
Or whatever that is.
Cool. Makes sense. Should be, right?
I don't know.
We're stronger than group one.
Absolutely. It's not even close. I know. I'm super excited for the hostage situation thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think they're gonna do that one a little bit better too. Last time it took a really long time to get it all set up and the actual activity wasn't that long. Mm-hmm. They're going to go a lot longer this time, which is good for us, right? That's another thing. Yeah. Those guys are the guinea pigs. We come back and it's a little bit better for us.
Yeah. Do it the right way.
What about you? What are you most excited for?
Just getting together, all of us. Like, again, it's like you said, like, we get together, we talk to people, we do whatever, but all of us together actually doing that, until we do that, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Not the same at all. I mean, even I went for those 4 days down to Hawaii or whatever, and it was 4 guys and we were all having a great time. It was cool, but it wasn't 50 of us together doing whatever it is that we're doing. Yeah. Everybody being completely vulnerable at all times, just doing whatever, not worrying about anything and just, making asses of ourselves and having fun at the same time. It's amazing how much we grow from it though. I can tell you the weeks or whatever it is, months that come after that, there's tremendous growth in me every single time, just complete changes.
For the last 30 days, man, I've been like itching for one.
Yeah.
Because, life comes at you fast, right? Especially when you're busy. And I'm like, we haven't had a Ludus in a while. You know what I mean? Like I can tell that I'm missing that in my life because you start missing it. Yeah. And so.
Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, but it's funny because when I talk to people about that waterboarding or whatever, just like, and it's not it's outside of our group, right? There's like, you think about the waterboarding that's coming up. Like I'm the same way. Like I'm ready for it. Like I'm excited for it. Let's try it out. I don't know how I would be a year ago, like waterboarding or whatever, but I only know based upon the reactions of people's faces when I show them the social media from last time of people getting waterboarding. Like, what the F are you guys doing? Like, why are you guys doing this? And I'm like, I'm excited for it. Like, what do you guys like that stuff? Like you like pain? Like there's no pain. Yeah. Life is all an illusion at this point in time to me. Like none of it matters. When you were talking about that karaoke thing, I remember the guys that didn't get up there and they were kind of embarrassed about it. And I sure hope that the karaoke comes back because I want to push those guys up to try to do it this time. Because it's like, nobody sounds good. And you're going to be one of the 2 people that isn't singing because you're embarrassed to go up on the stage. Like we're going to get rid of that embarrassment.
Yeah. Plus we had 2 mics. Yeah. So it's like we can both suck.
Right.
Just sing a tune that everyone knows.
For sure.
That's the only way karaoke goes bad. If you sing something that no one knows. Correct, because everyone's like, why are you singing
what is this? Yeah.
See, but another thing in this one too, we're going to wrestle the UFC guys, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to give them a hard time. That's kind of my goal. I was joking. I can't even know who I was talking to, but they're like, oh, you nervous about that? I was like, nah, bro, I'm freaking 320 pounds. Like they're going to have a hard time and I'm not going to tap. Right. I'm just going to go out. Then I can give a speech later on how you never tap in life.
That's awesome. It's perfect.
Or maybe I'll get scared as hell and tap. So we'll see.
I doubt it. I think they're going to be pretty light on people.
I think so too. Well, another thing too, with my size of body, right? It's just hard to move me.
Yeah.
Right. So but
for sure.
It'll be fun though. I mean, but it's also going to be a cool experience, right? I almost kind of want to go hard with them, to see what it's really like to go against a UFC guy. Yeah. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination I could take one of them in a UFC match. Right. I just want to give them a hard time.
Yeah.
I just want them to know that our group is tough.
For sure.
But yeah, the one thing I am going to miss though is when we go down to Phoenix, the skydiving, you have to be 260 pounds.
Okay.
They want to go higher than that. It's like I have to get cancer. 260 pounds. I'm at my fittest at about 280.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a large man you're looking
for sure. Yeah. You didn't get to do the any of the stuff then that day when we were in Brazil, right? Because we didn't go down there either. I guess it was it was in Brazil.
So
we did the paragliding
that.
Or whatever.
Yeah, when they did the paragliding. Yeah. So at first I was like, yeah, I'll go do paragliding. What the heck? And then I was reading up on it, right? Because I am concerned.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing. They would have let me go, but my landing would have been exponentially harder for every pound above 250 pounds. Okay. So I was like, And I don't know if you knew this, but I had tweaked my back about 10 days earlier. So I was really kind of babying it a lot. I was kind of sleeping flat and like doing this stuff just not to aggravate it. Because I had back surgery when I was 19. And so I was kind of reading this stuff and I'm like, yeah, what's the point of me freaking crashing down on this bad boy, twisting my back, and then not being able to walk for the next like 4 days? And I'm like the guy that's just like, in a wheelchair. Not really, but yeah. But no, that's the one thing I didn't do there is the little paragliding thing. Yeah. So you didn't do it, we didn't do it, and I don't think Russ and his wife did it either.
I'm not sure.
So that was it. Well, Russ and they came back with us. So
okay.
I think everybody else went and did it. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I took a helicopter ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you do
in
that?
a third world country. No. Oh. Ashley was too scared of it. Ashley has this paranoia fear of heights. Like it's ridiculous. Oh. Like even if we go to the edge of like a window at a high rise or something at one of those viewpoints, like she's scared, like can't walk to the edge, even though it's like glass, Yeah. So I told her that's one thing that she's going to have to get over as far as fear goes now that she's going for fears. So
I'll tell you, man, the helicopter, I've been in a bunch of helicopters. Yeah. That was the most squirreliest helicopter I've ever been in my life. And I was just like, dude, I don't know if I do this again. Like it was cool to go and do that, but I'm like, just the older, cheaper ones, right? They just, the tail whips around too much, like the nice new ones, they just, flies like an airplane almost. Yeah.
Well, when I saw the price, I'm just like, okay, this is going to be shady. Like a helicopter ride is usually at least $100 and it's usually like $300 or $400. Mm-hmm. And that thing was like $50 or something. I'm like,
I can't remember how much it was.
It was dirt cheap in comparison.
Cheap. It was enough for us to be like, yeah, what the heck? Right. Why not? But, gosh, man, I don't know. All that stuff is just fun with the group. Yeah. I just love doing this stuff. Are you doing Running the Bulls with us?
I'm not. Our first boy is due.
Oh, that's
that
right.
week.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
First boy. Did you guys really find out as a boy?
Yeah, about a month ago.
Nice. I didn't know it was a boy yet.
Yeah.
Cool.
For sure.
What day is she due on?
She is due on July 5th or something like that.
Oh, like smack. Right?
Yeah,
day before
exactly.
We start.
Yeah.
Okay. We're flying out on June 30th. We're going to go do a week before.
Okay.
And so.
You taking Michelle out there?
Yeah. Yeah. She's going to come. She's actually going to be out there the whole time, but because of the new rules, we're not going to see her until the day we go home. Whatever.
Right. Whatever. Fine.
So
who's she going with then? She's going to have some women out there?
Yeah. So Haley, Nick's girlfriend's going, and then Matt's wife, Andrea.
Beautiful.
And so we're going to go, we start in Malaga, which is down by the Strait of Gibraltar, head up through Valencia, up to Barcelona, meet up with everybody there. They're going to go, Andrea's found some resort they're going to go stay at for like 2 days, and then they're going to go to, is it Pamplona? Or the places we actually do the bulls. They're going to actually come watch us run. Just not going to see us that day, do their own thing. Then they're going to go to Madrid a day early, and then we go to Madrid the next day, and then then I bounce out the next morning at like 10:45, which I don't know. I went to change my flight to stay an extra day or two. They want to charge me like $2,800 per ticket. I'm just like, you guys freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, you got to do the changes day of. It's the only way that works. You're on Delta or something.
Yeah, you're probably
easy
right.
when it's like that.
I'm doing some work with Real Madrid, so there's a high probability I'll be back there this year anyways. So I'm kind of like, I'll just go back to Madrid and hang out with Michelle. Yeah, another time.
Good stuff. I'll tell you about the most fearful thing that I've had lately. So when we were in Hawaii on that trip, we went down to a nude beach, and it was like, okay, we're here on the nude beach. It's fine. Half the people have clothes on, half the people don't. Yeah. And the people that didn't have clothes on were not like any physical specimen by any means. It was like completely out of shape, right? Whatever. So, Ryan says to me, like, he's like, dude, tomorrow we're coming here and we're doing this. Like, doing what? Like, we're going to go nude, Looking at Ryan like, yeah, that's pretty easy for you to say, right?
Yeah.
So, like, have you done this before? It's like, no, I've never done it before. All right. You just looking to get naked on a beach, bro? Because you can do it right now. Like, we don't have to wait till tomorrow, It's like, no, I got to get it up. I got to get my stamina up. So that for me, for some reason, it was like extremely uncomfortable. Like I have not had anything that I've been fearful for. Yeah. And that for some reason, I have no idea what it was. Like everybody's out there naked. Your body doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. You're with people that aren't judging you. Everybody else taking their clothes off. Like I had no idea why that was so difficult for me. Went forward through it. It was fine. But I still, even to this day, I'm like, I still can't figure out why that was so fearful. Yeah. Why it is that it's just so uncomfortable and wasn't natural. Like it should be fine. You'd think that it would be fine, but it was definitely something that was uncomfortable for me.
What was it like during it?
It definitely felt free, but I think that the other part of it was that, people that I was with were taking it to the next level. Like kind of trying to like feel the water, like rush up their ass as they're like laid out on the beach or whatever, you know? And, but it was free, but it was just, there was something about it that was just like, I don't know if it was too much vulnerability or just like, like some sort of security was lost. I don't know. But to me, it was just like, listen, we should be able to be stripped down. Like, and I don't even think of it literally as far as clothes go. I think of it more in terms of like, take away your cars, take away your house, take away your bank account. Like, are you still happy? Are you still yourself? And to me, I would always think, yes, like I should be. I can get it all back. I can do whatever. Yeah. But something out there on the beach without clothes, it was just like, just something as far as that extra vulnerability was just there. So I don't know. I still have to explore it more to obviously try to get over it. Like it shouldn't be that big of a deal. You wouldn't think. But
I don't know. I hear that and I feel that I would be very uncomfortable. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've actually streaked a few times in my life. It was not uncomfortable.
Right.
But I don't know. I kind of feel the same way, right? Like I almost wonder, did you feel at all that like people were judging you for wanting to be there around naked people?
No. Not at all. No, I don't even think that anybody was looking. Like, because I definitely watched when I walked down there. I'm like, is anybody looking? Is anybody seeing what's going on? You know, of course, like we walk down there, Ryan's like throwing him off and like running around, you know, and gyrating himself in the water or whatever. Like nobody's even looking at him. Like if nobody's looking at this specimen right now, nobody for sure is going to be looking at me, right? Yeah. And so it definitely wasn't the other people. It was just something about like, I guess because we spend so much time in clothes, right? How much time do we spend out in public? Yeah, a streak is just something. Maybe it's just funny or whatever it is, you know, to do stuff like that. But yeah, there was, I don't know why.
It's more funny. No one really sees you because you're freaking sprinting. And
right, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept because you feel like you should be able to do that no matter what, right? I know in Europe, there's a ton of topless beaches and almost every beach is topless, I think, right? And it's just like no big deal.
Right.
But I don't know, man. You get those wieners out and it's like,
something different, right? I mean, same thing. I don't know. Like even a Speedo, like would you be comfortable wearing a Speedo around at a Ludus? Like if you're the only one that's wearing the Speedo? I mean, Brett had no problem sporting that Speedo.
I could probably do a Speedo. Yeah, I'd probably do a Speedo. But just having my man out, I don't know. Because then, you know, you're like eating dinner, you know, it's just
For
like
sure,
sitting there,
it's weird.
I think when you're standing there kind of like, hey, everyone want to look, it's like, okay, but it's when you like start being normal, you know, like, should I sit on this couch or how does this work?
Comfortable.
Yeah, who knows? That'd be kind of a funny thing, man.
Yeah.
So how many people were on the beach? Was it pretty packed? Or
no, I mean, there was like 50 people and it was a spread out beach or whatever.
Yeah.
But You know.
We always joke. Have you been down to Mandalay Bay?
Yeah.
You know, they have the nude or the topless.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's nude or topless. I've only been up there one time.
Yeah.
Just topless. Yeah. And I always joke with my wife. It's like, hey, I'll meet you up here at the topless bar. She's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
You know? If we ever get separated, you know, we just meet over here. And I don't know. I've never even been up there. But every time I look down from my room, I look there. There's always like two people.
Right.
And I'm always like, well, I don't want to be the one.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of weird.
For sure.
Also, if you roll up there solo, I don't know if that's cool.
Kind of weird, right? Like, why are you up here?
I'm just here to
Should
get a
be
drink.
up with somebody.
Yeah. Oh man, this life, dude. It's funny. So what are you looking forward for in the future?
I am looking forward to, at this point in time, I am really concentrating. I talked to a couple people who had the experience with their parents to basically go around and be part of every business transaction that their parents were doing. And they went through that in their childhood. These were people now that were in their 30s and 40s and had, you know, become multimillionaires and all that type of stuff. But only because it was seeing their parents kind of making business transactions firsthand, understanding how to relate with people, understanding how to have those hard conversations, understanding how to negotiate deals in a fair sense. And it was just kind of every single thing that I have neglected teaching my kids, but should be able to do. You know, it's like when we go do business things at this point in time, I'm fine bringing my kids. It's not a big deal, right? It's typically something that like, no, if you're going to meet with people, like it's a weird thing to bring your children with you, right? At least it was in the days that I felt like I was growing up. But to hear like other people just kind of disregarded that, didn't matter, you know, kind of like me showing up in the Relief Society meeting, like none of this stuff matters at this point in time. Yeah. So for me, it's exciting to be able to teach my kids these type of things, not just for the business aspect, mostly for the sense of them just being able to learn anything that I feel like they should be able to learn and give them those opportunities to be able to learn. So I'm excited to see our business develop enough to where it is something that we're making big enough impacts on the environment, the world, whatever it is that we're dealing with, that I can include my kids in those things and let them be able to watch and partake in those type of things.
Yeah.
I always looked at it as like kids are just around and you know how curious kids are and asking about things. It's like, should be answering all those questions instead of just like not wanting to deal with those questions that are coming our way, and taking them and letting them be part of our lives and seeing those things, just like you were talking about the reason for this podcast and letting your kids hear you and do stuff like that. Like, it'd be really cool to be able to take them around doing business transactions and let them watch business transactions and really let them watch a fair way of negotiating deals as opposed to all of this garbage that they can read in books as far as, how to try to get the most out of somebody and right.
Which is all garbage.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all garbage.
For sure.
It's like when people say other people's money, I got rich off of other people's money. And it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I hate when people say that. So, seriously, like a pet peeve. No, it's funny. I'm doing the same. I'm hoping to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I've built my kids' little stock portfolios over the years, and I call it their net worth pile, right? Mm-hmm. My oldest is only 13, but she, when they turn 16, I want to bring them into the business, whatever I'm doing at the time. And they can be I don't know if they're going to be an assistant. I might give them a job. I mean, we'll see whatever, right? But I want to expose them to exactly what you're saying. I want to expose them to like transactions and how business works and the relationships that I have. And like, come to lunch with me, come hang out with this guy. I'll tell you why we're friends, why we like doing business with each other. Yeah. It's pretty simple. We've made money with each other and we like each other. Right. Bam. Exactly. That's how we do business. Yeah. And so, I also have this little dream that when my kids turn 18, it won't be a dream, I'll actually make it happen, but I want to buy them all a duplex or a fourplex, right? Mm-hmm. And put them in one of them and then make them manage the rest of it. And I hope those guys are just assholes.
Right. They'll learn a ton.
So they learn, it's like, there's lights out. Dad, what do I do? Yeah. Click. Go do it.
For sure.
Whatever you think you need to do, son,
right.
Or daughter. Go make it
Empower
happen.
them. Yeah. Give them that opportunity.
Yeah. If something's broken, you can pay someone, you can fix it yourself. It's your money.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Go do it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I haven't quite figured it out, but I think that the main aspiration that I have in regards to that is not only showing them, but figuring out how to get something to where they can learn stuff internationally. Not that I want them to be crazy international business people or anything. I've just have my experience with international transactions is probably the same as yours. Dealing with a material vendor, getting stuff shipped over, paying them, like that's very simple. Yeah. I'd like to be able to take them into different cultures to expose them to business transactions to be able to get that. Humanitarian projects are great. I want to do that with them. That's fine. We'll do more, whatever. But really being able to transact in business in different types of communities would be amazing throughout the world.
We might have a lot of opportunity to do that with these countries stopping using the dollar.
Yeah. That's very true.
Dude, I love how no one cares about that. I'm like, the world's on fire. You guys understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. But I like that too, because you want them to, you're right. I've only bought stuff and imported it.
Yeah.
I've exported a few things. We've done a few projects. We've probably done 20 projects outside the country, something like that, of any magnitude. And that was actually wild. It was wild doing something. We did some stuff in Mongolia. And getting my installers all the way out there, because you can't hire local people. They have no idea what they're doing.
For sure.
It was wild. The way that they build stuff and just, hell, some of it's just freaking straw and concrete.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know how to engineer this building because how thick is this? I don't know. We'll kind of decide when we do it. Like, what?
Yeah, it's not the same.
Okay.
Have you noticed, though, that the people that you're doing the transactions with are very Americanized or not really?
Super Americanized.
Yeah. In terms of doing the contracts and whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, and I've kind of forced that. Well, on the contracting wise, I forced them to do our contracts, right? Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of, you're sure you're familiar, right? There's different international contracts you have to use, but but they're more like attachments.
Yeah.
But most of them all speak English and speak it pretty well. And so it's pretty easy to do business with them. And I've never really opened a market though either, right? I've never gone to Mexico and thought, okay, I'm going to bring a bunch of athletic equipment down here, and I got to get a dealer down here and a local guy and all this kind of stuff. But,
yeah. To me, there's just so many business opportunities in other countries. As far as I hate to use the word Americanized, but it is. It's just so inefficient in other countries, and I know that that's part of the culture, and it is what it is. But I mean, I've seen that a lot in any place that we go to, where it was like, wow, if they could just do something this way, and they would easily do it that way. It's just a matter of getting out there and doing that. But I'd no longer think of it in terms of going out there to make a killing. It's more of going out there to make it more efficient, to be able to bring these awesome things that we have and we're able to partake of to those other places.
Yeah.
So
I actually think farming's one.
Yeah.
I kind of want to open a farm down in Costa Rica. Mostly because land is super cheap.
Right.
Yeah. Good resources down there. Farming's a good way to go. You bring some efficiencies down there, some equipment, and you're off to the races.
Right.
But and then if this country ever blows up, I can just fly down there and we're farming the rest of my life.
Yeah, for sure. Is that a serious thought, or just something that's been random in the back of your head for a bit?
No, dead serious. Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. I'm probably 2 years away from pulling the trigger on that, unless something changes in my head.
Yeah.
So I just think it's. Do you have any international bank accounts?
No.
You do that stuff
None.
yet? So I do a little bit of that, but it's all legally, by the way, because the IRS is listening. They report it on my taxes. But I don't know. I've messed with different currencies and holding different currencies and over the years, and just, I don't know, maybe it's like the Jason Bourne in me, right? Like, you go to Dubai and you got, some whatever over there and whatever. But I don't know. I just think it's kind of a good place to kind of hedge, against stuff that could go bad. And it's probably the nuclear war talk 10 years ago, where it's like, what if that really did happen here? Or what if it got so bad here, some of that crap would happen?
Right.
Where would I go? Where would I take my family? But that's all, I don't know. It's also kind of conspiracy theorist doomsday crap.
So there's nothing wrong with diversifying regardless, right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with all that stuff.
Awesome. So do you spend enough time in your business to where an exit would free you up to do more things, or you're so hands off at this point in time in terms of your business that it wouldn't give you that much more freedom?
It will give me, it'll give me some more freedom. So I'm actually right in the middle of negotiating a big roll-up in two of my industries that I'm in. So I've got a PE group that's going to come and back me. Looks like, I think so. We're not quite at the finish line yet, but we're, when that happens, I'll actually just run both companies from like a chairman position and just leave like a president or a general manager or whatever the hell they want to call themselves. That's more, it's not to free up my time. That'll actually take more of my time, funnily enough, but it just, like 20x is the size of my company, and then we'll run that with efficiencies for a period of time, hopefully less than 10 years, or less than 1 year, not 10 years, holy crap. Less than a year, and then we'll just roll the thing up and sell the whole thing. Okay. But the reason I was asking earlier about exiting is, I don't know, I've kind of felt like the need to put my company in a position where I have a partial exit rolled up into a very large exit down the road that I have multiple people of interest in. Yeah. So that way, if I'm incapacitated or dead or I don't know, don't feel like it, that they still kind of continue on that path, and I just set it up for success. Yeah. It's kind of where my mind's at on a few of those things, but yeah. You're
still interested in that business itself? Does it still engage you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's super fun. It's really cool. So there's the athletic equipment side, which is one solid business. And then there's the athletic flooring side. The athletic flooring side is really exciting because we keep on adding NBA teams, and we have all these really fun things that we're doing, and we're buying mills, and I'm a real strategy guy. I love the strategy side of it. So when I start breaking down how to really attack a market and really jump in and just like kill everything, right? As we start executing that plan, as that plan works, it excites me. I'm like, oh, cool. Not that I don't have to pivot every now and again. I'm not like some master puppeteer or anything. Of course. But as we kind of like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that was happening. Pivot around, boom, boom, boom. We just kind of start flying down that path. It's just super fun. Yeah. So, and then I think everyone in the companies get really excited about it too, right? Because they're like, oh shit, this guy has a plan. We're going, and we're executing. So, sure. Yeah. But when people hear I do the Golden State Warriors floor and the Bucks and the Clippers, all this stuff, they're like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever, Right. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Whatever. It's just another product. Yeah. I could pretty much get seats to any NBA game I want. And, right. And I don't ever, just because it's like, I don't know, man. I've kind of, not that I've lost my passion for basketball. I still love basketball, but to fly somewhere to watch a game, to do the whole rigmarole and then be away from my kids or bring them all. It's just kind of bringing the circus in town kind of thing sometimes. So absolutely. I don't know. I just don't. So I didn't go to one NCAA tournament game this year, even though we did like nine of the floors. Mm-hmm. So
you used to do all that stuff though?
Yeah, a little bit. So I've only been in the flooring business for about 4 or 5 years. So we've really grown that. But but that's another thing. My employees love it, right? Because they think it's super special, and it is. There's some really special parts. We have floor passes, right? So all the tournament games, they're literally sitting on the floor, making sure nothing breaks down, and we're just rolling.
Right.
So
it's fantastic.
But we're probably we're right at the end of this.
There we go.
So what I ask everybody for is their best 2 minutes of advice at the end, Tony. So it can be to anybody, me, Dakota.
There we go. Put it out there. I'll put it out there to everybody, right? Yeah. My best advice is to be authentically you, to make sure that whatever you do, that you're doing it from your heart. And I know that sounds kind of corny or whatever it is. To me, it's everything. It means that you are truly feeling like you're aligned with the universe, that you are aligned with exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing on a daily basis. And if you don't feel like you're doing that, or you feel like it's corny, then you better do everything that you can in order to figure out how to feel that. Stop everything. I don't care what it is, because you will make more money. You will feel better. You will be happier. You will be everything if you can truly just pause, hit the reset button, and figure out how to do that in your life and follow that thread of life. So I know that's not 2 minutes, but that is everything that I feel right now and am. And it's made my life beautiful, your life beautiful, Dakota's life freaking amazing, and everybody around us that's truly just stopped and done that. So,
no, I appreciate that, dude. I feel the exact same way. You're right. Well, Tony, thank you for coming on the podcast. This has been amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the President McCormack Podcast, brought to you by McCormack Foundation, Saxton Fund, ADP Lemco, and Professional Floor Systems. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and keep up with Mark on Instagram @President McCormack.